It's a Canik pistol. I love that they come in a nice plastic case. On the inside of every Canik pistol, you of course get all of the cool case candy. You get interchangeable back straps for the pistol, cleaning rod, cleaning brush, punch tool, and as many of you now have come to find out, they do this cool little minigun, which is actually just a tool. You can throw these tips into the end, and it's a great gun tool. So what do we have? We have the MC9 METE. As you can see, there's the user's manual. This is what comes in the box with any standard METE, really any Canik. You get 15-round magazine, Kydex holster, the firearm itself with a 12-round flush fit magazine, pinky extension, locks, and all of the fun stuff that comes with it. Okay, so we're going to try out first shots on the Canik MC9 METE. I loaded up the 12-round magazine with just basic Federal ball ammunition. It does have the pinky extension on it because I don't care for the flat mags. So you can see it's the two-tone version. Let's just try the first 12 rounds and see how it goes. We're at about 5 yards. Should probably put safety first, eh? Alright, it did not lock back on the last round for whatever reason. We'll see if that continues to be an issue. I tend to shoot it just a little low left, if you'll notice, but not bad for 5 targets. We put down the threat. Okay, so this is a close-up of the target at about 5 yards or so. Those are basically just step-offs, so it shoots for me just a little low and to the left. I will say we are shooting a little downhill. The way the range is set up, it's a slight downhill incline, so I'll take those for the first 12 rounds. Alright, so we've moved out to about the 15-yard marker, again with the Canik MC9. First shots went great. It didn't lock back when empty on the 12-rounder. We'll see if the 15-round, same ammo, does the same at about 15 yards. Gonna be shooting steel. This is the first time for steel at our range, so we'll hope for the best. Alright, it didn't lock back again, so I'm not sure if that's going to continue or if that's a break-in thing. But as you could hear, not every shot was a hit. I'm not a perfect shooter, but on a little tiny 8-inch plate, most of them were a hit. Correction, 10-inch plate. Most of them were hits, just trying to get used to the swinging. So the METE did its thing other than not locking back. So this is a close-up of the target. Again, it is an 8-inch steel target at about between 15 and 20 yards. Kind of redneck engineered how far away we were, but it's obviously 3/8-inch AR-500 steel, and we were at least on the target for the most part, so not bad for first shots. Alright, so since this is a concealed carry gun, we just have a concealed carry rig inside the waistband here, and extra magazine on the side here. So I'm just going to kind of cycle back and forth between the two threats over there. Again, we're a little over 10 yards, 10 to 15 yards in this area. So definitely within defensive distances, if not pushing the limits a little bit. So we're just going to pretend our threat's over there. We're going to go ahead and engage the target. Get shots on target as soon as we can. Stick and move here the best. All right, our thread is down, did not lock back. So we're gonna reload. We're gonna try again. Okay, we had a little failure just then. Not sure why. Failure to feed. There is one in the chamber that's loaded and hot, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. So in a real fight, we just get back in as fast as we could and go. We'll do our best here. All right, didn't lock back again. So we're having a consistent issue with it not locking back. Not sure why that is. We did have one failure to feed, but we put our threats down, so that's good. So just a little bit of perspective for you here. This is the 8-inch target. I'm sorry, 10-inch target. That's the size of my hand, and that's the size of the Canik itself. So, you know, that's the size target we're shooting at, slightly downhill here. So again, accuracy is pretty good with the Canik. It shoots just a little low for me, but again, these are just the first 3 or 4 magazines through it. So we'll see if the accuracy improves and if they'll start locking back once some break-in occurs. All right, so my son and I were out here shooting a few more rounds through, and we found that with him, the slide would lock back. And I think it's because he doesn't ride the slide like I do. His hands are a little smaller. So we're gonna try a few more rounds here. Again, about that 12 to 15 yard distance on the 2 steel targets, and just see if we have a little better success with lockback. Starting off with 12 round mag, fully loaded. I'll try to keep down instead of up this time. See if that makes any difference. Locked back that time. So now we can go ahead and do a tactical reload, get back in the fight. We can hit our target. Not go quick. Taking forever. We got threats. Okay, no lock back that time. So for me, it doesn't always lock back. But I really think that I'm riding the slide or I'm actuating the slide release, so it's not doing it all the time. We did have one failure to feed, but again, I think we're in that break-in period. I've now shot probably, I don't know, maybe 6 mags worth through it now. Really no major issues other than one feed issue. That was very easy to get back in the fight. And then the one couple times that it wouldn't lock back for me, but again, I think that's just me needing to get used to how to hold this gun slightly differently. Other than that, very impressed with the Canik MC9 METE. So I was just doing a little bit of research on my grip. What I think is happening, if you look at the pistol here, is I have a decent sized hand here. Okay, I'm a 6'4", 200 pound guy, and so I tend to ride like this. Sometimes I get a little high on the grip. So when I came down, that helped a lot. But if we will pull this left hand out of the picture, you can see my thumb tends to rest right there accidentally. So the issue I'm having is, look, it won't lock back. I have an empty mag in the chamber, I'm sorry, in the gun itself. And when my hand is off of there, it locks back just fine. But when my hand is where I like to put it, it's right there on that slide release. And look, that is why it's not locking back. So I don't believe that it is a gun issue. I believe it is a me issue, unfortunately. So again, if I'm open and I'm off that grip, if I'm in the groove where the thumbs go here for your normal person, no problem. It locks back just fine. When I'm in my position, not. So again, it's a user error situation. I think we can eliminate the slide not locking back and count that as me. I just need to retrain a little with this gun. Other than that, almost flawlessly perfect performance from the Canik. I will very highly recommend this Canik MC9 as a new part of my everyday carry rotation. Okay, so we just finished up at the range with the Canik MC9 METE. As you can see, the version that I have is two-tone. I really like the look of the two-tone. It has a black Cerakote finish on the slide, nice beefy rail on the top, and the bottom composite material is the flat dark earth. I like the pinky extension that's on it. It's nice. One issue that I've noticed is that it's not quite the same amount of real estate for my larger hand. It does rest on there nicely, but it's pretty easy to kind of slip off, and there's not a ton of material on the back. So I'm not a huge fan of that. But here are the pros. Pros is that it shoots exceptionally well. It has a really great trigger. That's one of the things you'll find consistently in all the videos. Empty magazine. Trigger here, it has a really long take up to right there. And then, nice clean brake. Once you hit the brake, the reset is very tactile, just like a Glock, but it's also very, very short. So your follow-up shots are going to be really nice once you get past the initial kind of squish on the front end of the trigger. So there's the squish, there's a little bit of a hitch, and then it stops right there. I don't know if you can see that in the video there. You're going to take up the little squish, and then clean brake. Once it brakes, it's probably one of the best triggers I've ever felt. I really enjoy that. Obviously, you have the bar safety here. It won't fire if you don't push that down. There is also a loaded chamber indicator on top right here that will actually stick up when there's a round in the chamber. On the back, you have the indicator that shows you when the striker is cocked back. So that's a really nice feature as well. So when you do pull the trigger, I'm going to point it at myself, that goes away. So if you can see that, that's a good indicator. Maybe in low lighting conditions, you can actually feel it on the back of the back strap. So if you index your firearm coming out, I don't know if you have good enough grip, you'll notice it. I don't know. But I do like that. Once you get past the initial squish, the trigger pull is very clean, very crisp. I love that it comes standard with a 12-round magazine. That's a huge capacity for a very little gun. It also has the 15-round magazine as well. Now the 15-rounder doesn't quite fit the same. It fits really nice, but again, you have a ton of goop on the back here, just a ton of space. Not a huge fan of that, but carrying around a magazine that's got 15 extra rounds in it is pretty nice, and it's one of the best in its class. So those are the pros. Also, another pro is the Picatinny rail. You can put a light on here, you can put an optic on here, you can do a laser on here. Obviously it is cut for a red dot, which is a big selling point. At 400 bucks for a red dot, that's pretty stinking good. One of the cons that I noticed, the same Picatinny rail that's really great on the bottom, after you're carrying it around for a week or so, if you have a standard holster like a Kydex holster or a leather holster, something like that, you're not going to notice this. But if you use a little bit thinner material holster, like maybe a pancake style or something, that pick rail tends to dig into your hip just a little bit. So there's a little bit of discomfort there. It also is a heavy carry. Comparatively, this Shield Plus is way lighter feeling in my hands than the METE. I don't know why, there's just something about it. It's a slight difference. I don't know the exact specs off the top of my head which one is lighter, but the METE tends to carry just a little bit heavy. Another thing that I don't necessarily love is I'm not a huge fan of the darked out sights on the back. I will do this in a safe manner, but if you see, it has blacked out sights on the back and a really nice dot on the front. The front sight is excellent. For me personally, and you can kind of tell at the range, I was trying to shoot a 10-inch gong target. The issues that I was having really were based off of I've just never shot a blacked out rear sight before, and so there's a little bit of a learning curve. Once you're used to it, I think it's totally fine and you can get used to it. And of course, there's going to be tons of aftermarket glow-in-the-dark sights and different things. The other issue that I did notice is the mags stick quite a bit. So I'm going to push this mag in, and it kind of hits a wall right there. So you really got to kind of push it in there. The other problem is then it doesn't fall as easily as I'd like it to. But it does eject for the most part. And here's the 15-rounder. So if you really want a really loose-fitting mag, because of the sidewalls being so thin, this is not that gun. But As long as you're not super gripping on it, you can probably still get that mag to drop or shoot it out, however you normally do it. Comparatively, the Shield Plus, it's a metal mag as well, but it kind of comes and goes really, really easy. It's super slippery to fall out easy. Same thing with the SIG. They're all going to fall out nice and easy. So it's not a big deal, but it is something I noticed. The only other major issue I had, we brought up in the video that I was having issues with the slide not locking back. So if you have an empty magazine, you've shot your cycle of 12, 13 rounds, it should lock back every time. Every gun is supposed to lock back like that. The Shield Plus locks back on the last round. You want it to lock back on the last round. The SIG P365, you want it to lock back, hold open on the last round. Even the cheaper guns, like this is the Sky, the DVG1 that I've done a review on before. Same thing, it's going to lock back. The issue that I had with the gun was actually a combination of the gun design and my hand. As I've shown you in the video earlier, when I point the gun, I get my hands up kind of high. Now I can ride down and I can do that, but when I do that, my thumb is right there. So the way that my hand hits it, and I'm probably not atypical in this, if I've got a good master grip right here, even if I ride my thumbs down, it doesn't really matter where my thumbs are. If I roll this over, it doesn't matter, it doesn't change. My master grip is right here, and my thumb is right there. So if I rest below it, that's fine, but then I've got to modify my grip. There is definitely ways around it, it's not the end of the world. But look at the difference in the magazine release. On the top, we have the M&P Shield Plus. Very small slide release. Same thing here on the original Gangster here, the SIG P365. Again, very small slide release. Even on the Sky, I actually had it removed, but it's still, again, a very small slide release. So again, notice where my hand hits here, right there, because the bar is so long. When I am in a master grip position and I'm going to take my shot, and it doesn't lock back because my thumb is right there. On the Sky, same thing. Thumb right here, you take your shot, thumb's not on the slide release. On the Shield Plus, good trigger, thumb is not on the slide release. 365, thumb not on the slide release. So yes, I caused the malfunctions. Yes, I was riding the slide. The only thing that I don't care for is how long this throw is on the slide release. And I understand why. It's because the mechanism is way down here and it actuates here. I get it, I know why it's done that way, but that's not my favorite thing. I can overcome it, it's not the end of the world. That's a big con for me, but there's so many pros. This gun is definitely worth 400 bucks. It is an amazing pistol. It shoots exceptionally well. It has a really clean trigger once you get past the squish. I love the capacity of the firearm. It does carry heavy, in my opinion. It's a little bit heavier gun, and I don't love the slide release. Other than that, I definitely think the MC9 METE is an amazing gun, and it's definitely going to get added along with all these other pistols to my everyday carry collection. But what do I know?